When it comes to renovating a ruin in a foreign country, we can think of a lot of easier and faster ways to build a home. But where's the adventure in that? It's been 2 years now since we moved to Portugal with big dreams and no idea what was ahead.
The more I see, the more I realize there's so much to do.
So, looking back on all that we've endured,
would you still make the move?
We're gonna save that to the end of this episode.
Ooh.
We're Brittany and Drew, two hopeful adventurers who got married and after 8 years of van life, found our dream property and moved across the globe to Portugal, where we're now documenting the journey of transforming this historic watermill into our very first home. Now, let's take in a deep breath and let it out. Let the adventure begin. Hola amigos, hello friends, and welcome back to another episode here at our very rainy homestead. We were going to film this episode inside of the watermill, but being that it is just chucking down and we had two of our crew show up this morning, which was a surprise to us, but just to let them do their thing inside of the mill, we are going to film this episode inside of the coziness, warmth, and dryness, thanks to our shade/rain structure inside the camper van. All right, we're going to get set up in here. There's not too many places to film inside the camper, but where do you want to sit? This side, that side?
Let's sit together over here. Hopefully
the sound of the rain on our rooftop isn't too crazy loud, but we're going to go for it. It has been a very rainy winter, so waiting for the rain to stop, we'd be here for a few weeks, especially if you saw the radar.
So we've been here on our land in Portugal for 2 years, and we've put together a list of the 10 biggest things we've learned since moving to Portugal, and we want to share them with you guys.
First up, we have the expectations of moving abroad versus the reality, because it can be like a very exciting, beautiful dream vision to move abroad, to just like throw it all to the wind and, you know, pursue your dreams. And while it is so important to hold on to that naivete, if we can call it that, at the same time, it is so important to stay grounded and know who you are before entering into that kind of an adventure, because it could be very overwhelming.
Yeah,
and
I think we fantasized about this for a long time before actually getting here.
But I think what was a benefit for us was that, like, we knew this would be a challenge, and we tend to thrive on challenges. Pretty relentless.
1, 2, 3, go! Go, Spirit!
And van life prepared us very much for knowing how to seek discomfort and find comfort in
the journey.
And in having very little. So we started off here very off-grid, very bare bones. We did not have this rain structure over us. We did not have electricity.
We didn't have water. We had to go get everything and bring it here.
So when it comes to expectations versus reality of pursuing the dream, depending on what your specific dream is, because all of our dreams are different and beautiful and challenging in their own ways, just be prepared for a bit of discomfort in the beginning, a bit of a learning curve. Be patient with yourself, be positive, expect the best positive outcome. I think that is one of our superpowers.
Expect the best possible outcome.
No matter how hard something might seem, no matter how bad a leak might be inside of the home, best possible outcome. There's no other choice but to be optimistic now. You've made the move, you know, and optimism is going to help you get through the hard times.
Yeah.
Because it's not all easy. Dreams are not easy. They take hard work.
And moving to rural, raw land isn't for everyone, especially in a foreign country. And if you're looking to live in one of the cities in an apartment, there's a lot of challenges just in that process.
But that is, you know, in knowing yourself, are you a city person or are you going to be okay in the countryside? Yeah. Luckily, our job as YouTubers has us very connected and creative and busy and inspired all the time.
We often joke that we have city jobs, but live in a beautiful natural valley.
Yes. So for many other people living in this part of Portugal, they might feel quite lonely or bored.
It's very seasonal here. It just explodes the population in the summertime, but in the winter times, it's quite quiet.
Yeah. So again, knowing yourself and understanding where in the spectrum of moving abroad, you want to go, Before we move on to point number 2, I want to know, what has surprised you the most since moving to Portugal?
I think I thought we would have traveled a lot more in the 2 years we were here. We jumped across the pond to Europe, but we haven't really went outside of like an hour box of this area.
We dove headfirst into a renovation project.
A big one at that.
Yeah, I think that has surprised us both the most. It's like how immersive and requiring 100%, 110% of our energy this project requires.
Yeah, and that's not just physically, that's like pre-planning before, that's gathering materials, finding people who can help us with the jobs, and then aligning everything.
A renovation dream is definitely full of challenges, right?
Especially when you're a foreigner.
Okay, point number 2, renovation struggles and wins. What would you say has been the hardest part of renovating our old watermill?
I think sometimes we have to step back in order to move forward because we're uncovering challenges along the way. Moisture in the walls. Moisture's been a huge issue with the amount of rain right now, but at the same time, maybe we should see it as a blessing, because if it had been a dry spring like the last 2 years being here, we wouldn't even know that these problems exist, because the ground saturation, the water table underneath wouldn't have dampened those walls.
And so when it comes to any renovation project here in Portugal, I would have to say, take moisture very seriously. Because if you're buying something old, it most likely does not have proper insulation or ventilation put into the home. And so luckily our home wasn't finished being built, and it's at the point where, like, I think on the exterior we're just gonna like surround the whole house in gravel, make sure there's ventilation in
we have to
all
put a
the
moisture
rooms.
barrier too along the outer areas.
Yeah.
Ventilation, dehumidifiers, but we have the chance to correct the issues that are at hand.
Yes.
Before putting in the final materials that we'll use, which we've talked about in past videos related to flooring, walls, so forth.
So I would definitely say that is a major struggle. And as far as a renovation win, find people that you can rely on, because another huge thing here is what they call Portuguese time, which luckily for us, because we have a ton of projects or videos to edit, we can like balance things out if people don't show up. But very often people don't communicate the timeline very clearly, so you're left
like
guessing.
See you soon, which could mean next week, 2 weeks, never. Or means, hey, we'll come in a few days, which you don't know if they're going to show up morning, afternoon, lunchtime.
But truly, we've been very blessed with the workers that we have hired. So choose your workers carefully.
Just know that if you come from a Western country, that usually when you set a schedule, it's very punctual, and 8 o'clock, 8:30 means those times.
I mean, that's the truth with our workers.
With our workers,
yes.
Our Ukrainian guys, absolutely.
And Nelson.
And Nelson, yeah.
All of our workers, really.
Basically, just know that you got to have clear communication, and things are just time-oriented a little bit differently.
Yes. And how I mentioned that our guys are back in the house right now, like we didn't really know that they were coming today, and they haven't been here for months. They literally have not been here for months. They've been working on another home
Big
just
project
because
too.
They wanted us to clean the stones and stuff before they returned. So anywho, the guys are back. We're excited. More on that in the coming episodes. We got to finish pointing those walls though before those episodes get shared.
Yeah.
But speaking of pointing, point number 3. Bureaucracy and visa process lessons. We are here on the D7 visa. The paperwork and application, while I wouldn't say it was all easy, I would say that it is very possible, and that they make the path to residency here in Portugal somewhat clear. Right?
I would agree. There's 2 different main visas that were followed when we applied. The golden visa, if you could invest 250,000 euros or €500,000, depending on where that property or land was. We are not on that. We did not have that kind of money. We are on a D7 visa, which is a passive income visa. would also be used for somebody who has a pension or earns money from a company outside of Portugal. That way it doesn't take jobs away from Portuguese citizens.
Yep. And something that I would recommend 1,000% is to have an immigrations lawyer to look over your application before you send it in and just help you understand a lot of the things that are foreign to us.
Yeah.
Because that's very natural and things might not make as much sense to us, and she or he, the immigrations lawyer, would be there to help.
Give you a lot of clarification and cross those T's and dot those I's.
And speaking of that, there has recently been a change.
So it used to be CEF, which was the Seguridad Extranjeros de Foreigners, like the border services, and now it's IMA, a different agency put in place, and they're the one handling immigration here. However, there's a whole bunch of political and governmental problems in Portugal right now,
complicated,
which is making it almost impossible to get appointments with IMA right now for renewing citizens cards and people just trying to apply for the application to get in the program.
Our lawyer Mafalda was kind enough to record a little something to help explain all of this, because I literally have no words to explain it. So we'll play that for you right now. It might shed some light on some things.
People are not experiencing significant change or a change at all in the smoothness of the card renewal, in the smoothness of the concession of residency. And so there is expectation in the juridical actors that act within immigration and IMA itself, I believe, that the government will extend again the validity of the residency cards until the end of the year. And while we don't have a government in place, especially after the elections, it will be very difficult to know what will happen next.
Thank you so much, Mafalda, for explaining that for all of us.
So helpful.
Hopefully that's helped you guys understand a little bit more. It helped me understand a lot. We're very outside of what is going on politically in Portugal, and I would say that being an expat or being
we're in
a foreigner,
a bit of a bubble of our own here.
It's true.
And also residing in the countryside versus if you're in Porto or Lisbon.
It's very true.
Now moving on to point number 3, the cost of living. Is it really cheaper living here in Portugal?
We made a little list of things that are cheaper, things that are not cheaper, coming at you from the editing studio. After reviewing the footage of Drew and I talking about what was more expensive or less expensive, we both realized that we were just rambling on, and what would be way more fun for all of us would be for us to film an experiential episode showing you things that are more or less expensive here in Europe versus the US. So if you have anything particular that you would like for us to include in this episode, be sure to let us know in the pinned comment below, and we can do sort of this USA Europe joint episode. Now, I will say though that our renovation has definitely cost us more than we initially thought, not only in money, but also in time. Now, I believe this is probably the case with most renovations, especially for first-timers, so just keep that in mind if a renovation in a foreign country is part of your dream. And something else worth mentioning is that in Europe, we pay a lot more with cash. In fact, many restaurants, stores, markets only accept cash. And that's different from the US, because sometimes when I go back there, I'll find myself at a cute little coffee shop and they don't take cash. I still have some American monies left over, and I find more and more often whenever I go back to the States that they are only taking credit cards. But here in Europe and many other parts of the world, cash is still king, especially when it comes to paying our workers and such. But all of this brings me to the sponsor of today's episode, and that is Exchange of America, who conveniently delivers actual cash straight to your door before your trip. Let's say you have an international trip coming up and you'd like to have the cash in hand before you land. That way you can be on your way and you can avoid having to wait in line and the bad exchange rates at the airport kiosks. You can just have the freedom to go, enjoy, explore. This is how it works. You simply go to their website, you select the currency that you would like to buy, enter the amount that you need, fill out a form, select how you would like to pay, make your payment, and boom, your foreign currency will arrive in as little as 24 to 48 hours, giving you the freedom to explore and adventure right when you land without having to worry about money. And what's even better is that at the end of your trip, if you have any leftover currency, you can just send it back to Exchange of America using the return label and the reusable envelope. And once they receive it, they deposit it right back into your account. And with the latest encryption technology, the Exchange of America website ensures that your information is secure. So if you have an international trip coming up and you'd like to get your hands on some foreign monies, be sure to check out our link below. Now, back to the show. Okay, point number 5, adapting to homestead life / rural life. I would say that there are 2 specific things to note here. One is that coming from van life, we had all of the freedom, all of the spontaneity, all of the adventure right at our fingertips all the time. We loved it, but at the same time, we grew to be very tired of it and no longer found comfort in that much freedom. We were, in a way, like lost in the freedom. So I'm grateful for the groundedness of land. Also surprised about how much we love our land.
Yeah, every day we walk around here, morning, evening, and
So
just are
grateful.
like, wow,
We
this
own
place
a
is
park.
special.
Yeah. But the other thing is that it comes with a lot of new skills to learn.
Yeah.
For Drew, strimming.
Yeah, everything from upkeep of the land, cutting trees, organizing the water lines so that we can have the proper drainage and ensure there's no mudslides or rock slides.
I hope to get into gardening more and more, but if I decide that I want to plant all of those terraces above the mill, you know, maybe it's grapevines or lemon trees or lavender plants. If I decide to do that though, that then makes Drew have to install the irrigation drip lines. And there's enough to do inside the mill. We have to get that habitation license this year.
We are on a one-train track.
Exactly.
We are narrow, focused, on our way.
Exactly. We got time for the plants, the grapes, all that can wait. We must focus on getting inside that house for multiple reasons. Talked about in future points right
Which
here.
means that I'm saying no to a lot of other things.
Yeah, like travel and little van life trips. So anywho, yeah, it's a balance. We're grateful, we miss van life, but we will have a little bit of both once we are living inside that mill. Okay, next point. Point number 6.
The language barrier and learning Portuguese.
I would say we were on a roll. Last year, we were in that A1 course twice a week, 4 hours a week. We were learning all the time, talking with our workers. Though now that that class is over and we would enroll in the next level of class, but again, we have that goal of getting inside the house. And this is the year that it's happening.
I have a few particular Portuguese friends that I love talking
Yes.
with, and they help teach me new words all the time.
Muita chuva.
Muito. Durante a dia, eu movar areia na reboque
Sim, sim, sim.
and depois para chuva, maybe 20 minutos, and then comer, and then depois Brittany eu e Lina para gás, and then depois mais chuva. Sim, so, but I think fim da dia, muito.
Sim, durante a noite talvez tenha chovido uma boa chuva.
Exatamente.
Just having that ability to spend time in the community, say hello to shopkeepers and just the places we normally visit,
Yeah.
and have those small conversations. That's been really special, something that I've cherished since being an outsider and how welcoming the Portuguese are.
I also love learning like the little fun ways that the locals say things. Like instead of just obrigada, which is thank you, saying like obrigadinha. It's like a little thank you.
Yeah,
It makes them smile. I love making locals smile. There is nothing like delighting locals by speaking to them in their native language.
Ok, obrigado, prazer.
Obrigada a nós.
Prazer para mim.
They definitely like when you put the effort in.
It's true.
Also, when you live in a place where there's a lot of expats, like here in the Algarve or in some of the pockets in the cities, is that you can actually get by without speaking Portuguese. We don't recommend this. We recommend that everybody have 10 go-to simple phrases that they can just I don't know, make a positive impression and show the effort for living in a country outside the one they were born in.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can get by, but no, you should put in the effort. And a lot of the the visa programs like the D7, they require that you have a language test. And so it's important that you make the effort.
But do know that English is the basically #1 universal language here.
Yeah.
Everyone in Europe unifies because whether you're German, you're French, you're Dutch, American, I guess we come with an advantage.
I mean,
but, yeah.
For us, we just get to speak our native tongue. I'm always so impressed when we meet somebody that's German and French and they're speaking in their
Perfect
second language,
English, yeah.
and communicating, and then we join in the conversation. And then some of them are learning Portuguese as their third language on top of it. And I'm just like, how do you learn from your second language to your third language? Like, mind-blowing.
Next level, right? Like Europeans.
But in all fairness, your dad speaks 4 languages, like.
But my dad's French, so he went
Spanish,
French,
Portuguese, French.
He learned English second.
Yeah.
English, I don't know. Maybe it helps you learn other languages. Maybe, I don't know. Moving on.
I think French helps you learn Portuguese, though, without a doubt.
Speaking French has helped me immensely. Whether the Portuguese speak a little bit of French or whether some of the words cross over, it's definitely an advantage. Okay, the next topic on our list of lessons, finding friends abroad. People, community. I've honestly been so blown away by the people around us.
Yeah.
I really didn't think about it much because as van lifers we were very independent, but we were embraced from nearly the moment that we arrived. Like our first day working on the land, our little garden neighbor brought us oranges. Yeah, our vizinho. Oh, vizinho.
Vizinho, sim. No, adeus. Nice to meet you.
Adios.
Até logo.
From our neighbor. And then our other expat friends, because for whatever reason, this mountain magnetizes nomads. There are so many van lifers who choose to live here. That is nearly the story of half of the friends that we have made.
Yeah, we feel like it's also a rite of passage to restore or renovate a ruin as well.
Yes, nearly all of our neighbors are either doing that now as well, or they've already done it. So it's not like we are doing this crazy thing.
Yeah.
Nobody can relate to us, you know.
And when we say this is the foreigners who have moved here doing this, not the Portuguese renovating ruins, although there a few.
Yes, our friends Aldina, Julio, they did.
But usually they have family or friends or live in another enclave or hamlet, and then they're renovating something else in the area.
True. But our British friends started out living in their caravan, building out, fixing up one smaller ruin, and now they're building their larger home. So it's nice that the community shares their wisdom, their knowledge, the struggles, the triumphs of these renovation experiences that we are all sharing.
And you can learn from the others in the area when you put yourself out there, because they can tell you which stores to use, which builders they recommend. That's how we've learned about many of the people we've got connected with here. And
saying yes when they invite you to things. And they're very community oriented here. I don't know if it's just our mountain
European thing, maybe. If you're European watching our videos, leave us a comment. We really want to know if in your home country you feel like community is still strong, maybe outside of your family, but just that people get together in a way.
The thing is, the mountain though is different. It's not a city where everyone's living their own life and they're going and they're like, here in the mountain we need each other. It's like, especially in this rain, are you okay? Is your road washed out? Do you need me to come dig you out of some rubble? You know, do you need me to come get a boat? How are you doing? You know, our friends up valley, down valley, we have each other's backs.
Valley over.
Because we live in the wild. I think that's one of my favorite things about this. Like
that we live in the wild.
That we live in the wild and we need each other. I love that we are all benefited and helped and made fuller by having our neighbors.
Well, if you've ever read those studies on longevity and living to be a centurion, community is a big part of that. Like just spending time with others.
Yeah. So
leads to good health and longevity.
It's true. And if you're an introvert, it's okay. There's other introverts in the mountains too, and we all come together. We can be ambiverts, right?
And also for getting the renovation project done, it has helped so much having guys show up or
help.
friends show up that make me have more discipline and be like, okay, I will be out there and ready at this time to conquer this task.
Yes. As you will see in our final pointing episode, there are now 4 of us pointing in there. Thank you, Abby and Mario.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, point number 8. Food, culture, and lifestyle changes. What has changed for you since moving here?
We were nomads. We were minimalist. We didn't own a lot. We didn't have to take care of anything. We had no animals in our lives. We had no pool that needed to be cleaned.
Responsibilities. Like none.
Yeah.
That's definitely different.
Owning a house is like the opposite extreme.
I tell Drew, I'm going to just say, I tell him, I'm not sure if I'm fully convinced yet about like homeland life versus land life or van life. I'm confusing myself here.
Well, you signed up for it, Missy, so here
I'm
we
happy.
are.
I'm grateful. Neither is perfect, right? So it's about your perspective and remembering that I needed this, and I do love this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good for your health.
It's so good for my health. I'd have to say that when it comes to how my life has changed, I've been able to focus on seeing, someone to help me with my hormones, being able to feed ourselves at a higher quality. We literally don't eat much packaged things. Drew might eat more pastries, but those are fresh.
But I think
not
that's a factor of
packaged.
living in Portugal too. Like the type
Yeah.
of food that's easy to get here
Pastries.
has way less chemicals in it. It's way healthier.
The markets. We love shopping at the
Digest
local
easier.
markets, getting our fruit and our veg from the little lady in the little wooden stand, or going to our favorite spot to get gluten-free bread. But like, it is fresh, not packaged. Also, I mean, Drew loves his pastries, but like, I've been able to cut sugar out of my diet. And I don't know, I was sort of like a sweet tooth fiend for about 2 years or so. I don't know what it was. I couldn't kick it, but since being here, I've been able to. So just being grounded has allowed me to improve upon some of my habits.
I say sugar equals energy, and I need all the energy I can get.
Yeah, I mean, you do
Why do we work out? So we can eat what we like.
And on that same note, what do you miss from the US/love that we have here in Portugal, whether it's food, culture, or lifestyle? I know one thing you miss. Ice hockey.
I miss team sports and certain things that I used to do. I used to play roller hockey in Santa Monica, and I definitely miss just the camaraderie of ice hockey and roller hockey.
I'd say a lot of the things that we miss are almost LA specific. Like, I miss going to the movies in LA because that is a scene. I miss like getting dressed up in LA because you could have more personality and it was recognized.
Feeling like a movie star? Well, you're on film right now. You are a movie star.
Just feeling like I could express myself through another modality. Because here it's like, I also love the fact that it's so simple and you can just go in your work clothes to dinner and it really doesn't matter. Like, people will love you and accept you no matter what you have on, do or don't, it's kind. And I can appreciate the simplicity of that, while I can also miss the cultural experiences that we've had in other cities, specifically, I think.
Big events, I think, in the countryside. Like, there's homegrown, smaller events, which are super
cute.
cool. Like, there's a really cool music scene throughout this mountain in the Algarve.
Say the
Whether
DJs.
it's acoustic music,
Funk DJs,
yeah.
like reggae.
good energy.
And I'd have to say yes. I do love
Yeah.
the music here.
Yeah.
This mountain has got music. That's amazing.
The
Never
music,
would
the
have told
vibes,
you
and the
that.
people.
Yeah, the music, the vibes, and the people. MVP. We just remembered, we just finished filming, actually, but wanted to drop this in on this point, that one of our favorite things, one of the things we love most about living in this part of Portugal is how safe we feel.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be different in the cities, but in this mountain particularly, we feel extremely safe, and we've been told numerous times that this is a wonderful community to raise children in.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of neighbors looking out for others. The community here, it just, everybody really knows each other in many ways.
yeah, so a lot of respect here amongst the people, and a lot of safety amongst families. So if we are lucky enough to have children, I am excited to have them live those very special years here.
the community, the healthy quality food, the transformation of our water mill, and seeing something progress. I think in life you have to choose things that make you thrive, and you have to throw yourself into them. And by choosing this project as the water mill, it's that for us. And you've said many times we wouldn't have direction if we didn't pick something like that. And so wherever you're at in your life, if you're feeling down or stuck, literally throw yourself into something
that's challenging.
And don't have to go from A to Z in one day. You just have to go from A to B and make the first step.
And know that you're capable, expect the best possible outcome, and go.
Yeah. And opportunity will open up and things will get easier as you get moving. So just take action.
Yep. You just gotta throw yourself out there.
And here we are in Portugal 2 years later, taking action upon our dream and hoping to get in our house by the end of the year.
That's right. And that brings us to point number 9, which...
It's the weather.
Can you hear the rain? You still hear this rain? Nelson was over the other day, our excavator / very good friend, if you haven't seen our previous episodes with him. But he told us this is the most rain that he has seen.
In a decade.
In a decade.
Yeah. Which is amazing because all the rivers are just gushing. The dams have filled back up. The drought is basically over in Portugal. And as soon as that sun comes out, the greenery and the landscapes are going to be popping.
Bloom. But I have to say how amazing the timing of this unfolding of, the unfolding of this chapter of our lives has been. Because the first 2 years we had no rain structure or shade structure above us.
No electricity.
No electricity.
No borehole.
That meant that we were relying on solar 100%. And the water movement.
The water lines and drainage management.
We would be having some major
flooding, slides.
Probably.
Yeah.
But thank God that we now have so much more dry space. But I'm saying all of this because if your fantasy, you say your dream is to move to Portugal as well, and you see how beautiful it is in the summers. In the summer it is gorgeous, sunny, blue skies.
It's a big reason why we chose to live here. We love the dryness. We love what just feels like you can go to the beach every day.
And you won't see clouds for like weeks, months.
6 months.
Yeah, but if it's how this year has been, you will see very many clouds in the winter time. And so again, when it comes to choosing a home or where to live, just make sure that it is built well. Because I don't mind this weather at all. But if we didn't have this shade structure, and if we weren't going to build our home properly so that we, once we're living in there, we don't have the mold or moisture, whatever problems might be caused, like we're going to be okay. Now finally, point number 10.
10 dash.
Would we do it again? Knowing what we know now.
Without a doubt.
100%. By doing it again, we mean that we would do it the first time, not redo all of it all over again.
Yeah, what she said.
Just wanted to be 100% transparent here. I think we had a realistic view that this wouldn't be easy, but we were willing to do what it takes. And as with any dream, I think that just has to be the mindset. You have to go all in, knowing that it's going to be hard at times. And although the work may seem endless, soon enough, the reward too will be endless.
Yeah, and especially that we hand-built, customized this house will feel so rewarding at the end of the day because we poured our hearts and energy into it. I often tell people that we traveled the world in a van, we hiked mountains, we did some crazy different adventures, and now we're taking all of that energy and pour it into this monumental mountain we're climbing to complete the water mill.
And so if I could give any advice to somebody thinking about making a move like this, we said it with point number 1, but know thyself.
Yeah.
Know what it is that you need to be happy, what it is that lights you up, what grounds you. Like, go into something like this grounded so that you can withstand when the wind blows.
Yeah, I think in basic terms, what we're also trying to say is that moving to a foreign country that's a fantasy or a pipe dream isn't gonna fix your problems if you don't figure out and solve yourself at home. That can be moving to another state, another area. Just because you make the move doesn't fix the thing. So work on yourself, know what you want, and reach out and get it. Be a friend along the way to get other friends. Find information along the way that help aid you in your process, whether it's building something, starting a new lifestyle, learning a foreign language, or completing a visa program.
So hopefully this was helpful, inspiring, uplifting for you, informative in some way. We do offer consulting if anyone's interested. We'll just put a little link below. But more than anything, thank you for sharing your time with us.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe. We know a lot of you guys aren't subscribed, and we just love you guys and watching our video. We don't take for granted any of the eyeballs on our channel. It means the world to us.
Very grateful. Grateful.
Go and have a great day, guys.
Know that you're loved and you are special and very capable of whatever it is that you dream.
Yep.
Beijinhos. Kisses.
See you soon.
Ciao.
You're the best.
And if you're curious why and how we chose Portugal, then watch this video right here where we share exactly that. Até breve. See you soon.